poster is an analysis of the 3 domains of the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index in treatment-seeking adolescent performers. Vocal pathologies can be detrimental to the plans of adolescent vocalists, potentially limiting performance or career options. When seeking treatment, clinicians use quality of life measures to measure the patient's perception of their vocal handicaps. The pediatric vocal handicap measures the quality of life measures in 3 domains: the physical, emotional, and functional. Limited research analyzes relevance to the adolescent vocalist and the 3 domains that come with it. This study aims to analyze the pediatric voice handicap and its 3 domains among treatment-seeking adolescent performer population.
So generally, when a voice problem is being assessed, they assess it using endoscopic and perceptual evaluations, acoustic and aerodynamic evaluations, and a self-assessment. So the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index was adapted using the Voice Handicap Index, and it brings in a parent proxy. When it was being developed, there were a few questions on the Voice Handicap Index that were not relevant to children, so they were removed when the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index was made. For this particular study, the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index, or the PVI, was completed by the child and their parent at the initial voice visit. And like Jill said, there are 3 subscales that are focused on in the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index: functional, emotional, and physical. And each question is rated using a 0 to 4-point Likert scale, 0 indicating that the child or parent never feels that way, 4 indicating that they very often feel that way. So an example of a functional question on the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index would be: my child's voice difficulties restrict personal, educational, and social activities. A physical question would be: my child's voice sounds dry, raspy, or hoarse. And an emotional question would be: my child is frustrated with his or her voice problem. Some prior research has been completed with the Voice Handicap Index and the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index. It was found in the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index that the physical subscale questions were scored the highest out of the 3 different domains. In another study, it was found that singers actually rated questions relating to their emotions the highest when they were filling out the Voice Handicap Index. And in a third study, it was found that adult singers actually scored lower on the Voice Handicap Index when compared to non-singers. And this may be because singers are so in tune with their voice that they may have detected a problem earlier, whereas a non-singer may have waited until it was really, really bad to go in for treatment, and so naturally their scores would be a little higher. So the VHI was then adapted into a singing VHI for adult singers, but there has not been a singing voice handicap index for the pediatric population so far. The research questions that we want to address in our poster are: how do the 3 different subscales compare in the treatment-seeking adolescent performers? So which ones were scored the highest? And then within each subscale, which specific questions received the highest scores when filled out by the client and their parent?
Our participants included 15 adolescent vocal performers, ages ranging from 13 to 18. Each showed up at the Center for Pediatric Voice Disorders at the Cincinnati Children's Hospital with a voice complaint, and they completed a full clinical voice evaluation and the Pediatric Voice Handicap Index. This chart here shows each of their diagnoses, and then our research design was a retrospective descriptive research design used to investigate results of the PVHI in treatment-seeking adolescent performers. Our results in this chart show the top 3 domains, physical being the highest, followed by emotional, and then functional. Some of the highest scoring statements of each domain include for functional, the children avoiding communicating and speaking less. For physical, it included dry and raspy voices and their voice being unpredictable. And then for emotional, the children were very frustrated, and the people that were speaking with these children couldn't understand what they were saying.
In our study, we have run into a few limitations. We did run into a small sample size. We can only use what was available to us from children's. The parents filled out the survey along with the adolescents, so they may have skewed it a little bit. And the PVHI addresses speaking issues, not singing issues. So in the future, we would recommend that there would be a development of a singing voice pediatric handicap. And we think that would be the best. So thank you. Have a good day.